The thing is, when you start out and you're very young, they just give you all this stuff and they let you go for it, and everyone is totally happy because they are expressing themselves. As they start to try and structure you and start to tell you how you should be doing things, and they break down that true expression of self, is when people start to clam up and they're no longer game to express, and a lot of that suppresses that ingenuity that every being possesses within. Hello, we're going to endeavour to have a slightly more serious podcast than many of ours are, so welcome to this episode. And over here on my right we have Eddie, who is a counsellor, and we have Sherrie, who is a mental health recovery, would I say?
Yes.
Yes.
And 2 pelicans as patients.
And we just thought it'd be really nice to have a discussion about mental health because it's such an important issue in the world, not just in Australia. And so we might start with Eddie, who's had an amazing life, and her journey till now has been quite extraordinary. And we'd just like to talk a little bit about the work that you do and your history.
Biting my bottom lip now. I'm not too sure where to start.
Well, you were born in Sydney.
Yes, born in Sydney, under a bridge at Gatesville.
Not many people can say that.
That's my brush with fame. So Sydney for a bulk of my life, then went to Newcastle and then back to Sydney to study. And went into the mental health sector and drug and alcohol sector from there. And decided that the big concrete jungle that is Sydney and everything it has to offer was just too much. So I went to Mount Isa, Normanton, Doomadgee, so up around the Gulf.
Yeah. And up in that country you had a lot to do with the Aboriginals, and Doomadgee is one of the communities up there that we used to perform. Amazing place, and for what you were doing it would have been pretty extraordinary.
It was amazing. Words can't describe the knowledge, the learnings, the teachings, the wisdom that came from working in that area, just simply because of working in mental health and drug and alcohol sectors. The families, the unity, being immersed in the culture and in the communities, it was such a blessing. And when people honour you with their story and their journey, it's truly humbling because everyone has that part of them. And a lot of the time when it comes to mental health or drug and alcohol, you're asked to repeat that story over and over, and it gets really either mundane or shunned. People can shut down, and it's really humbling, and it's a blessing when people open up and they feel like they're being heard.
Can I say maybe be a bit overwhelming as such too sometimes?
For me, hearing people's journeys and the stories and the families, it wasn't overwhelming. It was actually very humbling and very honouring at the same time because of what people go through and the trust that they're putting in someone that works in those areas. Yeah, it's a lot because more often than not they've been through so much, like so much of a struggle.
You're also an artist and a pretty amazing painter, I've discovered today, having seen some of your artwork. The way that you've integrated art therapy and brought art into connecting with the people that you're helping is quite a unique, and it's quite a modern technique that's used these days. Art therapy's become a very big thing. So would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Trying to figure out where to start. So I'll just start wherever my brain.
What made you start introducing art to connect with the people you were helping?
It was a way. One, it was the culture, but also a lot of the time it passes over the boundaries of the language barriers that can present, whether it's with a child, an adult, the elderly. Everyone's got an understanding of art or colours and lines, and breaking it down even further to just draw a line, a shape, use a colour. It doesn't have to be anything significant.
Just start
And,
somewhere.
And it gives you an insight into their personality and where they're actually sitting and what they're thinking.
Absolutely.
It's brilliant. I've used art to break down quite a few people's walls and just to get them comfortable. It's amazing how much people open up when they get in that creative state of mind. And I've used that from dates to pretty well the same thing, just giving people an outlet. So I can understand why it was quite successful for you.
It's so true. And not only that, some people prefer it when you're actually talking to them around the deep things.
Yeah.
I've been asked, even recently, by someone I was working with, they go, are you going to stop? Are you going to keep doing like painting? I'm like, if you want me to, I don't mind. Because it's just a distraction and I'm busy doing something, so I'm able to concentrate, but they feel more comfortable in being able to tell their story while I'm doing something and creating. So it's really interesting how different people like different parts of it. But it's very true. It's just a different language. It's a different way to get it externalised to a person instead of having it all internalised, which is where we hold things really heavy. Like
Here at Butler Estate, we're moving forward with a music and arts centre and the integration of the two, because Lockie's actually a painter now as well as a musician.
I think you might be oversharing.
No pressure, son. But I'm also very interested in the arts, always have been, and so I've always been quite an enthusiast and love fine arts. And so therefore the expansion for our company and the integration of the two, and with the Balu organisation, which is the cap that I'm wearing today, what we're trying to do in a wellness capacity to actually help people, and just by getting them together with meditation, and we just converse on any level, just to make people feel relaxed. And it's really all about extending friendship to people and sharing the love, because we find that actually enables them to feel better about themselves and their healing just through that friendship and love. And that's basically what the Balu organisation is all about. And you're part of that organisation with us too, Eddie, which is really special.
Yes, I will say that I'm very grateful that I got introduced to it quite early on, especially coming in here, and very welcoming and relaxing. And I love that everyone's willing and able to
It's a community.
support. And encourage.
Yeah, we've created a community so that people actually have somewhere to come, just to be and to hang and to know that they're not judged and that they're just loved and cared for. And so I think that's when it comes down to mental health, that's a lot of the key to unlocking the problems that we have and allowing people to heal. It's the breakdown of the family unit, the breakdowns of society on the whole, which is actually opening up a lot of the issues that we have. People are feeling isolated and alone. And Sherrie, I'd like to just come to you quickly. You were a nurse.
I was an AIN nurse. I always still am, but
and you actually have had issues with your mental health, and you've integrated music therapy and art therapy to actually become well again.
Yes. I have a music therapist once a week, and we have an hour session where we actually write a poem, and it's about my emotions, and then we turn it into a song, and then we're able to put the chords to it, and that's how we actually get emotions off my chest and talk about my feelings and
and then you record those songs.
Yes, and now I've actually made the songs and channeled them into, I've got a father song, I've got about my sister, I've got about my brother. I'm actually writing songs about people and my life, and not trying to make it negative, trying to make it positive. Like I've got a daughter song, she's always a daughter to me, and trying to make these songs, that people can hear them and relate to them. Everyone relate to them as such.
Yeah, and so you put this collection of songs together on a CD. It's like a therapy for you, and then you actually come and professionally record a single to include a cover song on that album, and you actually then extend it to the world to promote that album by putting out a professional single to radio.
Yes, last time I came here to Butler's studio to do recording with you and the LBS group.
And you're back.
Yes,
Couldn't have been too bad. You survived the first one.
But this time I think it's going to be a much more heartfelt than Saddle Boy. Saddle Boy was a beautiful track, beautiful song to do with everyone. But this one has got more heart in soul in the song because it's actually about my mother. I sing about mum. You know, I mean, I still miss someone. I miss those arms around me. I miss those blue eyes. And yeah, it's just.
And that
it's
in
just
itself,
soul.
every time
Yeah.
you perform that song, it's actually releasing a little bit of your emotion to an audience, but also it's therapy for you as well.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a long time before I could actually sing my very first song I wrote myself, which it was called Everyone Has a Mum. And it was very hard to sing. As at the time I was with my daughter and my ex-husband, and it was Christmas and I'd lost my mum, and so that song was very hard to sing.
Yeah.
It took me a long time.
As a nurse, when you started to struggle with your emotions and you felt that you needed some assistance, what actually triggered you to reach out to get that assistance and step into the music and art therapy for that?
Well, it was actually, I was able to come out of, I guess I had a nervous breakdown in 1989, and talking about art, I always was able to colour in and express myself that way, and I don't know what it was, I just inherited Mum's guitar, and I just used to play with and fiddle with, and I never had any idea of chords or whatever, because Mum never actually let us use her guitar as children growing up.
Yeah.
And so I just played with it. You know, it was just a little guitar with nylon strings, and Mum painted roses on it, and I just really wanted to back myself. I really wanted to sing and back myself, and so then I progressed to Salamander Shopping Centre, where I used to live over at Port Stephens, and got guitar lessons from he was in a rock band, heavy rock band, teaching me just the basics.
Yeah.
And I used to say, oh my gosh, I'm a C chord, and sounds like swinging a cat in the tail, someone's tread on its tail, you know, because I couldn't get it to work. And it just clicked, and so then I just started to...
And you found that
Right.
helped you and just made you feel
I
better?
started to
So
write poems,
you fell into that sort of...
I just used to write poems, and just when I was angry, I'd just write down my words and my feelings. And I have written one song that actually talks about my illness, and it's called This Battle I Fight. And it was a battle. It was really a battle. And I had been back and forth to mental hospitals, back and forth. And it was like... I spent weeks in there, and the last time I went in, I probably had 8 weeks in there, and I could feel my body changing. People could see me changing. I got to the stage where I always had people in my face, because our business between my ex-husband and I was so successful. I had people in my face all the time, and I never had time to myself. So I got to the stage...
Blimey, I better watch out.
So I really...
That's my life.
I felt that the only way to get a bit of peace was to go and put myself in a mental hospital.
Oh, I
And
try
that's
and
sad.
hide, it doesn't work.
It was sad to say that, and then it came that I was assessed, and you know, I had schizophrenia, and then when I had my daughter, I had postnatal depression, and it sort of triggered, and then they found bipolar, and it was like, wow. And then NDIS come on board, and that's when they got the music therapy, because the only thing that helped me, because I'd just clam up and wouldn't talk, I'd just draw. No one would get a word out of me, I'd just draw. Colour in like I was about 10 years old.
Seriously, we
I
can't
went
stop
20
you talking.
I know, 20 years. I went back 20, 30 years. I relived my past, and it was like, you know, when I went back in, it was like I had to come back out and readjust to the community. I had a successful business. I was a secretary, I was a mother, and yeah, I just Yeah. But when I did music, it was like I just relaxed, and it was something in my soul that I needed as therapy, and that's all I had was music therapy. And then it progressed, and I had my music therapist. He was a gentleman in Mayfield, Carlin, and he taught me, and he just used to say, look, what instrument are you going to play today? Go and put yourself on the drums, and just, we didn't even do a
That's
song.
always good therapy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, our little drummer boy here.
Yeah, and he would
That's
just
how he
play
takes our
something.
ears.
He would just play something, and I'd just whack the drums, and he'd go, oh,
It helps,
and he's
doesn't it?
encouraging me,
Mm.
And then, each time I went in, he was the one, actually, it was during COVID, and he said to me, right, this song we're going to come in and do, like, we were ready to record in his little studio. It was only a little room, and we were ready to do this Battle I Fight, and then COVID hit, and he said, look, I can still do it for you. You do it at home, you sing the vocals, send it to me, and I'll mix it for you. And he did.
Mm.
And I was so, because it was such a personal song, talking about medication. I have to take medication to make me right, or I can't sleep at night, it was such a personal song.
Well, you seem to have it all together, probably more than some of the people that think they have these days. Is it a constant battle for you, or do you actually feel that there's a wellness about you now?
I think I've found the right soulmate. I think I've accomplished so much, and probably been down the black dog for quite a while. And I've just now become, the little head still talks to you sometimes, and I just say no, it's okay, it's all right. Just take time out, or
So you've just learnt how to handle living with it.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring Anthony in, because Anthony actually teaches you guitar.
Yes.
So he's your guitar teacher now,
Mentor,
as part of your
Yeah.
And so how's that been for you? You also have a son that's unwell, and you care for him as well. Would you like to just give a little bit of insight into your life?
Hunter has autism and ADHD, and I think music for me has gone to a more personal level because of what's going on in the background. It sort of takes me away a bit from what's going on, but it makes me a lot happier to be able to help Sherrie in her music endeavours, and it sort of opened up a sort of different path for me music-wise, and so I didn't think I'd have the knowledge enough to relay what I know as a musician to others, and for them to
Does he
sort
know
of
enough?
from.
He says I'm teaching him.
You know, he sacked him today because he went out to lunch instead of being
That was only because he didn't invite me to lunch.
You were in trouble.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, really.
Yeah.
I was
I got over that.
Really watch
got
yourself
over
off the balcony.
No, I got over that. We had our lesson. It was good.
It's always good. We've been doing it for 2.5 years.
That long.
Yeah.
Great.
And we even got to the stage where my partner and I, we were away at Sapphire in a caravan. We were having lessons in the caravan. So we still could have lessons.
And when I went at Christmas time, I used to take the guitar. When Grandma was alive, I used to walk down to the lake there. She lived at Brightwaters, and I used to do the lessons with Sherrie on the water there.
Yeah,
so
you just
we
sync
were always
up
able to do
on
it.
Zoom, don't you?
Yes.
So they're just Zoom sessions, and you. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Sometimes it lags a little bit. That's the internet. You get that, but it was just.
It works surprisingly well. You think of those things all over.
So you're smarter than you knew.
Oh just a tiny bit. It's very therapeutic for me. It's a level for me as well
The
that I
confidence
need.
building as well.
And being able to show other people what I do, I must be doing something wrong. It's a lot of fun. Being able to adventure out to different aspects of music. Whether you teach it or you play it, you know, it's all very
And so
therapeutic for me.
music on the whole is even therapeutic for you. I know it is for me.
Yeah.
Like if I've had a bad day, the first thing I want to do is just pick up a guitar and just sit. Just sit and be at one with my music. And after I've just sat there and done that for a little while, the whole vibration changes and I'm ready to reset. I can just go again. So music's been such an important part of my life. And I can't emphasise how important it has been to actually keeping me as stable
I
as
think it's
possible.
actually important, not just for us musos. I think it's more important for people who listen to it as well. It can be very therapeutic for people that listen. You know, so music is a wonderful thing and can get you out of big holes.
And we've done a lot of study on it lately, that the different frequencies have a different vibration, and so therefore they touch your different chakras and they can be uplifting, and in every way music can actually help you feel so much better. And we're just, the world is just becoming more aware of how important music and the arts are to our well-being, and they're two sectors. The arts have always been overlooked a lot for sport and for other things that our governments have poured a whole heap of money into, but arts and are so important to our soul well-being.
Am I able to add about the NDIS to you, Sherrie, about the funding being cut?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I don't
It's
believe
such a
it's not
shame.
therapeutic.
It devastated me a couple of weeks ago. I found out of my music therapist that in February they're trying to cut music therapy.
That's
So
because
they're-
they're broke.
That's
That's because they wasted all the money.
You know, well, it is. But
That's
music
all right, we'll
therapy-
cut that.
But you know,
Or not.
it's such an important
You might get a word out.
And what you're doing, Eddie, with as a counsellor, a lot of the work you do would be funded like that as well?
So, I work in different areas when it comes to the counselling side, or clinician side as I call myself. I personally haven't seen any of the funding cuts, though for people to be able to go and seek support through a counsellor, a therapist, anyone who's basically studied, it can be quite expensive if the NDIS or if a mental health care plan is not involved. Even with the mental health care plan, some of the clients, they're paying $460 for a base therapist, counsellor.
It's your shout. You're shouting.
That's not me. That's not me. But I know that there's overheads that come in, and if they've got different certifications, because we've expressive therapies, which is more so what I do, which is the art, and then I'm not a music therapist, but definitely can utilise it. And then symbolism, because it's all very personal, and it can really change someone's makeup. That isn't always cheap. And then if they're going to people's houses, but the NDIS, and it is sad with the money being cut, because it does.
It's happened for a lot of people. The cutting of the funds, and they need to. If you don't specifically write in a special way, like where my core comes from, my funding in my core, I'm not allowed to utilise it anywhere else. During COVID they did, but now you're not allowed to take that. So if I've got more money left over there to utilise it here.
I think it's more not because they have a lot of money, they're dispersing it elsewhere. It's the reason why NDIS is cutting the funding for music, because I don't believe that music is therapeutic to a mental mind, you know. So it's I think it's.
I find that hard to believe with all the new studies that are out there that actually prove how therapeutic music is.
It is.
I find that hard to believe that there could even be anyone out there that questioned that these days.
I've actually been blessed to sit in music therapy, someone who went and studied it, and I was amazed at the changes working with children at that time and families, and what you could actually complete in a session, and what it could skills build around emotional regulation, around like impulse control, around like that skills development, behavioural, being able to adapt and change, which this world's changing, it always is. And music, even express therapy such as drama, therapy. Like, these things help because
They're
ultimately,
expressive.
and any sort of identity of a person is ultimately just a well-rehearsed part of themselves that they're displaying, whether it's that the excitable, the anxious, the worry, the sad, the happy. It depends. It all comes out of different parts.
And as
It's
we all know,
amazing.
just the sheer release of emotion makes you feel better. If you bottle things up, then you start to get unwell. It's pretty,
Yeah, well, I was going to
pretty
say exactly the same
fundamental.
thing. You guys might be able to clarify this for me, but it's my experience that it's a lack of creative expression in most people that leads to poor states of being.
Definitely.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah.
You know what? We can probably close the podcast on that, Lachlan, because that was just so well said.
Yeah, well, that's just how
Perfect.
it seems to be.
It is.
So,
The loss
to
of
hear this is
identity.
ridiculous because that's what people need is the support. Like, you think back to school, we're all most happy when we're young and we're given glue and paper and we're just snipping things up and going for it. And the older we get, the less of that there is, the more unhappy we become.
The thing is, when you start out and you're very young, they just give you all this stuff and they let you go for it. And everyone is totally happy because they are expressing themselves. As they start to try and structure you and start to tell you how you should be doing things, and they break down that true expression of self, is when people start to clam up and they're no longer game to express, and a lot of that suppresses that ingenuity that every being possesses within.
It is such a massive topic, not going to lie, when it comes to identity and attachment and growing and how it all forms. They are, I have to say, in schools, they are looking to adapt the school environment more for each of the individuals. It can take time, and that's sometimes the challenging one because of the teaching, the teachers' aides that are in the school, and the documents and the proof, and then they need to actually trial out different things. So if someone's working in child, youth, or NGO or government system, and they're going in supporting and looking to help the family and the school system, it's a slow process, and then adding the NDIS, like
It's also very costly.
It is costly, and just getting all the different supports.
One of the most amazing programs that I saw in schools was Lachlan was actually fortunate enough to be part of the GAP program that they introduced into Tamworth High, and they took these 20 children as an intake, and they taught them differently to the rest of the school. Now, from year 7, where that little cohort were pulled together and they were given, they were like a little protected species, and they were project learning, and they basically supported their personal growth and development rather than telling them how to do everything. And these kids, at the end of the day, ended up amongst the top scholars in the school. And so the proof was in the pudding, but I also understand that it was probably a much more costly program to teach every child like that, rather than having the group environment.
Yeah, linking it onto the way that they actually learn and develop. So if they're someone that physically versus the academic that likes to read, or that's wonderful, that's beautiful. I wish that was able to be done a lot more. Yeah.
And so from here on, with your career and what you're doing, do you have a direction that you would like to move forward, and what you think is important for the future?
Yeah, my direction moving forward, it's going to be utilising the skills that I have already and the skills that I have on, I guess, my part-time side, which is more of a holistic, esoteric sense, and merging them both together through my life coaching certificate that I've also got, and utilising all my other certificates, which is drumbeat, facilitating, and stand play therapy and symbolism and things along those lines. So getting the art, but also the energetics and timeline, things that aren't so much gold star, which is what we need in the government and even private sectors and even in the NGO sector, because I've just noticed that sometimes there is a crossover that's not quite happening, and yet they're all quite blurred. The
I
more
feel like I'm
study,
back.
the more...
I feel like I'm back as the PNC president. They have all these letters,
I know.
and we're like,
What letters? I didn't even realise it's there.
you guys have the alphabet
Yeah.
attached to everything in the public.
I know that. Yeah, we do actually. Everywhere. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Okay. What letters would you like to have clarified?
No, it's all good.
But basically, actually doing a bit more of a crossover because of some of the areas that I have worked, the ones that aren't gold standards such as cognitive behavioural therapy, dialectical behavioural therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, sensory modulation, things along those lines.
So basically, your focus is wellness for humanity.
Absolutely.
Can we just nail it at that?
Oh, is that all you're asking? Oh! Yes!
Well done, Gus.
Bring me back in! Reel me in! You want it nice and sussy. Help humanity feel good in their skin.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And people need to feel comfortable with who and what they're meant to be and fulfill their life purpose in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Sherrie? Where do you see yourself headed? You're pretty comfortable and happy with the way you're progressing now.
I am, yes, and even I have an option, even if music therapy does, disappear. I have, I have the option for the music therapist to then be a private one, even though it will be expensive, but I still feel I need it,
Yes.
and I would be prepared to.
Beautiful.
Maybe, go back to my nursing, I used to look after an autistic young girl. I'm still wonderful friends with their family and that.
And sack Anthony because he's too dear.
Oh no, he'd still be my teacher. He'd still be my teacher. But
I'm only
music-wise,
joking.
yeah. And I think now I've discovered, with coming back again the second time, I think, airing a single on every track. I mean, I've got 7 albums on my docs.
Awesome.
All there ready, all songs.
Awesome.
And Rachel her and I have been together for 5 years now, and she just knows what I'm about to, write or say, or and she just has a great way with me, and I'm her only adult client. All the rest are younger, and we're all different behaviours. But I pursue my music.
Good on you. And you, Ant, you're so entrenched in the music business. I can't see you ever giving up what you're doing. Number 1 on the national charts today.
Yeah, that's good. No, I mean, you always strive to be better than yourself each day, but it's, where I am with music is where I want to be. I don't think I can get any better.
You found your happy place, haven't you?
I'm
Loving life.
happy recording, releasing. It's what I want to do, and more
Touring,
shows
playing.
and stuff. It's just what I want to do. There's nothing else.
Yep.
There's no
Love you,
question.
mate. Keep up the good work. And Lockie, you're
Leave me
just...
alone.
our little drummer boy and our little art enthusiast. And you're actually installing an art studio. That's what's happening here on Butler Estate for you. And you intend to do some pretty special things with some special people.
Indeed.
That's it.
Indeed.
Okay. Watch this space. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time at Butler Estate at the Vault. Thank you.